Hello, hello, Studio 108 Seekers and Sages. I'm here with Leah. We're super excited because this is the last day of 2021 and we are really looking forward to 2022. We have a good feeling about it. What do you think?
Yeah,
It's gonna be good. All right, all good things ahead. So today we wanted to share some thoughts and our vision boards. And
did you make yours yet?
no, but we'll talk about it.
Are you planning on it?
Yeah, I've got pieces and parts. It's sitting here.
When are you going to do it?
Here. Well, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
On the podcast?
Not on the podcast.
Like tonight?
Yeah, but yeah, like this weekend. So I'm lifting up, if you're not on the visual, if you just have the audio, I've got my canvas board here. I've got piles of pictures and words that have been ripped out of magazines that have struck my curiosity and kind of start to align with where I'm going. And I've got like this index card with a really great quote that I found. And
I did my vision board differently this year because
I know.
But I have like conflicting feelings about it, because on one hand, I couldn't find the types of pictures that I wanted in the magazine, and there were some like really specific things that I wanted. So I just digitalized everything and just got pictures off Google and made like a whole, what is it called? Not a mural, a collage through Canva, and did quotes. But then on the other hand, I think that part of the benefit of vision boarding and sitting down with the process of like cutting out papers and like flipping through and getting inspired is that you're in like a zone when you do that. So then you can connect more to like intuition, and there's like a physical process versus me just kind of like knowing what I already want to put on and Googling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I was like really.
So mine turned out good, but
wait a minute.
But I think that there's pros and cons to doing it the way I did.
Okay, but I want to point out the pros because I wanted to show like how different our processing is. Like I'm a little old school, so I did the magazines and the papers.
It looks like you ripped out a picture of someone who is like an arthritis medication ad.
Yeah, I think it might be an arthritis medication ad, but where did it go? But it had some letters on it that I liked.
Gotcha.
Because you know, I can't always find the words. So I have to like go for sometimes like really great text where I can pull letters out of a headline that has a really great text and then add other letters from a different headline with good text so that it kind of like, you know, serial killers will write the message by cutting out different letters.
Maybe what you should do is on your board, you should, I don't know if it's not Morse code, but it's some sort of code where you put all your words, and in each of the word, there's one letter capitalized in each word, and it says something like,
I love it.
Negative.
No, something good. It would be the key that unlocks the doors to heaven for
it says like
coins. Lakshmi. You'd want like Lakshmi. You'd want like something that would generate. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to point out that I've got this pile of stuff and I am in process, and usually my process is, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. So I start like right after Christmas. I'm sitting in front of the fireplace with a cup of tea or whatever, and I start pulling things out. And I really loved that Leah, and like, can we turn it around just for a second for the folks that are on Zoom? So Leah sat at her laptop, but she had a lot of intention. You had a ton of intention, and you were searching through.
All I do all day, I think it's because I'm Pisces sun and moon, and I have a lot of, someone told me I have something else in my chart that makes me very like water emotional, but I'm such a dreamer. So all I do all day, all I do all day is dream. And
really?
So I'm very clear on what I want. Like I can talk all day about what I want.
Yeah, so Leah went through and Googled images.
It was easy for me.
Yeah.
To figure out, yeah.
And it's a really beautiful collage with great.
So, and then something that I got from a manifestation book one time is I printed out a picture of myself to put in the middle, which looks really egocentric, and it is, but that's the point. And then I put arrows shooting in towards myself, because the goal, right, is not that you have to go out and seek all of these things, but it's that if you're the vibe and you're the energy, then all of these things will come into your life, and you don't have to go out and look for them.
That's outstanding.
So I like my arrows.
Yeah, I didn't do it last year. I brought last year's vision board, but yeah.
Oh my God, did you see what I put right here?
A puppy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because you have been crushing my puppy dreams for weeks.
2022 is the year. unless we go to the pet store today.
I've never met more of a picky puppy picker than this woman.
But like, unless we go to the pet store today, 2022, I promise will be our year for a puppy. I promise. Okay, so I want to point out my last year's vision board because I love looking back, and I have vision boards going back. Well, I've done them for a lot more years than I've held on to them because I have some vision boards from even before I was a yoga teacher from like 2001.
Did you have a vision board before you had me with a beautiful, perfect angel baby girl on
I
it?
should have. That would have been so good. I definitely would have had a girl with like curly hair and yeah, bright blue eyes, blue green eyes.
An anxious attachment style.
I would put your picture on the vision board like smack next to me. Like I'd have my picture and then you, I would like put it off in the corner like poor little puppy. Okay, so anyway, one of the things that's really super cool is to look back at your vision boards and see what actually did come to pass and what you have, how you've grown. And the past couple of years, like, I don't know, I feel like so much growth, like time and processing is moving exponentially faster and faster. So it's cool to look back because last year I put on the vision board my new big studio. Like I had that desire, like even though we weren't even looking yet.
It is kind of wild because I was looking back at my vision board from the past year. I don't keep them. But things do come to fruition, and it's not like I had a great year where I felt like it was an amazing year, and things never look as beautiful or as shiny as they do on the board, but things still come.
Things still come, or you make progress towards it, right?
Or you make progress. Yeah, so it is a really good measure of time because it's hard to stay objective in your day-to-day life.
Right.
And it's hard to, and it's a good way to compare yourself to yourself, which is a more appropriate measure than comparing yourself to other people, which we're all like so inundated with messages of like other people's lives.
Right, so true.
Yeah.
So true. One of the things I do notice about my vision board last year is that I have certain things on my vision board, and I use my vision board as like big picture visioning. And then I've got like goals that I had laid out. And one of my goals was not really represented on my vision board. One of my goals for 2022, one of the things I wanted to get done, like the task boxes, was not on this vision board. And guess what?
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. And the other things
you wanted to buy me more presents.
Yeah.
more designer bags or fur coats.
Exactly. But it was super duper interesting that that didn't happen this year. So last year. So next year it's going to be on the vision board because it's still a really valuable aspiration that I hold.
And when you see stuff all day like this, or just even every day, you're constantly anchoring yourself to that future version of yourself that already has all of the things that are laid out in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
And it's an easy way, it's an easy way to anchor yourself to that every day, because otherwise you forget. So even on your most horrible days, if you spend 2 seconds looking at this,
the psyche remembers.
Yeah, it is wild.
Like you get like the psyche imprint.
Were you gonna say something else?
I was gonna say, like, what if instead of scrolling through social media or dating apps, like spend the time.
I feel so called out. that was very intentional because, yeah, but most people that listen who are your friends are not on dating apps, so that was very pointed.
But like gazing at your vision board is a really worthwhile daydream, Leah. It's a really worthwhile.
Well, it's safe because when you go on social media, you can't control the images. When you watch TV, when you listen to radio, you can't control whether it's going to be coming at you. So why not,
and it's
fill
food.
your mind.
Like what we look at is like food. So better that your vision board gets imprinted on your psyche than somebody else's projection of a story that may or may not even.
Is there something on your vision board that's there every year? Because there's one thing for me that's there every year.
Yeah, there are things that are there every year.
I always put
healthy eating.
No, just like leafy greens. Like there's always like leafy greens.
Yeah, that looks like a tree though.
No, it's not. It's cauliflower stems. Correct. But every year there's something about leafy greens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and vegetables and healthy fats.
Well, I'm glad you have a well-rounded meal there. I love that you found a picture of them.
I definitely get enough healthy fats. It's just like the greens. That's always, you can always eat more greens.
Okay, so there's one more tip about vision boarding that I think might be helpful for people, and that is that the reason you cut words out, or like Leah did, print font, is that you don't want to write the words with your handwriting, because when you write with your handwriting, your current vibration or your current stream is in that. And you're wanting to go from where you are currently to a higher expression of that. So that's why it's said like print text from a book or printing on the computer like this is going to be a more neutral vibe that you can infuse with your projected aspiration energy.
That's an interesting thought.
Isn't that an interesting thought?
It's hard for me to buy stuff like that when it comes from you, just because you're my mom and I'm like so critical. But I think had I heard that from like on like the Goop podcast, I would have been all over it. So I'm trying to be fair. Yeah.
Right. Like Barney sings "The Wheels on the Bus." It's a really great song. And if I sing "The
What
Wheels
a
on the
strange,
Bus.
what a strange, yeah.
Okay.
Analogy.
So one thing that
For example.
yeah, one thing that I want to touch on too is this idea of resolutions versus intentions versus goals. And I don't know that there's necessarily, or that I have necessarily, a perfect definition of each different idea, but I heard recently, it was Molly McCord, the astrologer, talking about resolutions versus intentions, and I thought she had an interesting point.
Maybe you can talk about that and I'll talk about the goals, what I view as goals. So talk about that, the resolution versus intention.
Right, I am.
Okay, go.
Here we go. So resolutions.
Get to it. I'm just kidding.
Resolutions, she was saying, were more like when we resolve something. So when we resolve something, we kind of resolve. We let it go, we let it flush through. It's a little bit past energy that you're sweeping out. Versus intentions, which are what you intend. It's an energy projecting you forward. And so she said, you know, you might have some resolutions, you might have some things that you want to resolve, and then you probably also want to be sure that you have some intentions, things that you're going to anchor out at a future point in time, so that you have a trajectory for where you're going next and where your energy is. And so I thought that that was really, really an interesting thought stream to follow. And it really took me into the idea of the difference between like value-based intentions and measurable goals and objectives. So as I indicated, I tend to do my vision board more like visions and intentions and value-based, and then have like a separate piece of paper. Sometimes I put it on the back, but last year I didn't. Last year I had it taped on my cabinet wall in my office. But then I have like,
is that where you put your like voodoo stuff on the back? Like I want this person to hurt, this one to break their leg.
I don't have any voodoo. My voodoo's good voodoo. Voodoo juju.
Could you imagine?
No,
like
I
on the
wouldn't do
back
that.
of your vision board, it's like really what you want to happen? This person's house to burn down?
Yeah, my goodness.
I'm just a little choking.
Shadow side. Okay, so yeah, so what do you have to say about goals? Like how do you?
Oh, just that I think that they're more, that they're right, that they're like more
measurable.
Yeah. So when I look at goals, I think about SMART goals. Does everyone know what SMART goals are?
I don't know, say it.
Okay, so they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, right? So like if you have a goal of I am going to eat healthier, that's not really a SMART goal. It would be like I am going to, so get specific, I'm going to incorporate 2 extra servings of leafy greens in my diet every day for 2 months. Like, is that attainable to you? Yeah, like that seems fair. Is it realistic? Is it something that's, it could be realistic or relevant. So is that something that you actually want? Yeah, it is. And then it's time bound. So I think that that's a little bit more like you can take your intentions and maybe break them down like that.
Yeah, for sure. So that you have on your vision board radiant health.
Well, typically I was going to say with intentions, I think about more of like a feeling, like something I want to embody or feel, whereas goals I think of more pragmatically.
Yeah, I can see embodiment around intentions.
Yeah.
Because you're putting like radiant health and
Right.
blood sugar, kind of brain health. And you know that in order to get that feeling or that embodiment or that value actualized, then you're going to need a SMART goal around 2 servings of leafy greens a day, every day for 2 months.
Do you love that I have trampolines on there?
I love that you have trampolines.
I can't wait for you to get those for us.
I know you should put them on my vision board if you want me to get them. But I think since they're on your vision
But they're
board,
coming to me, I just have to sit back. That's funny.
that's what's on the back of your voodoo board. Make mom buy trampolines.
Yeah,
for the studio.
yeah.
Everybody wants trampolines. We all want to jump. We all want to jump.
Do
for
we
joy.
though? Some of us are haters. Some of us don't like the jumping.
I love it. So anyway, yeah, I think that's good to think about. You know, to create goals out of your intentions can be a really important step towards actually moving your vision board into your life, because it's nice to have it sitting there, but like, how do you bring it off the page and into your life? And
so many of those sorts of goals and objectives like it's frankly all of it, right? So like if I want to, I'm trying to think of what I put on here, like I said in love with life, like if I want that, then how can I form a habit around that?
Yeah.
Because habits really are what are going to lead you to your goals long term, because if it's not a habit, then you're probably not going to stick with it.
100%. So tell us a little bit, because I know you've got like a little pattern.
So
plug and chug
in my
formula.
health coaching program, they had us read a book called Tiny Habits by BJ Foggs. And he talks about like a recipe for forming a habit. So in that recipe, there is here, I wrote it down because I always forget what the first thing is. So there's an anchor moment, there's a tiny behavior, and there's a celebration. So if you think of it as ABC, anchor moment, tiny behavior with a B, and then celebration. So the anchor moment is whatever is going to trigger you to do that behavior. So if my behavior, right, I want to eat more leafy greens, and I guess you can break this down in a lot of different ways, right? There can be one for the grocery store, one for eating at home, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to think. So when I, and you can even write this down in the little card, when I get my shopping cart at the grocery store, I go straight away towards the refrigerator with the greens in it, and I get my spinach, I get my greens. So that would be the tiny behavior, is actually putting the greens in your cart. And then the celebration moment could be like, I take a deep breath of gratitude that I'm able to buy these for myself. I admire this is fun, but like admiring the color, the depth of the green of the spinach, knowing that there's so many phytonutrients in that, and it's going to help your body decrease inflammation and all of those things. So that can be your celebration moment. Or like if the habit that you want to create is practicing more gratitude, maybe you put on a little postcard, like every day when I put my feet on the floor, right, when I get out of bed and I feel my feet hit the floor, I'm going to take 2 seconds and say 2 things that I'm grateful for. And then after that, I am going to, put my hand on my heart and a hand on my belly and take a big deep breath in and, just celebrate that I was able to do that. Or it could be as cheesy and simple as like giving like a fist pump to the air and saying like, yeah, I did this, like anything that's going to make you feel good, because ultimately for you to continue doing a behavior, there has to be an immediate reward.
Right.
Like, why do we do bad behavior? Or I shouldn't say bad, no behavior is inherently bad, but the reason that we do unhealthy behaviors is because they offer us an immediate reward. So if you're trying to anchor in your more positive behaviors, you need that immediate reward. And then you also need sort of that anchor, that trigger moment for your brain to remind you to do it.
Yeah, I think that's valuable. And one of the things I love about that is that you become your own coach and your own best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So like you encourage you. I really want to do this. I'm going to figure out like where I can slice it in so I get an anchor reminder, habit started, and then I'm going to do my little thing. And look at Leah just talked about 2 super tiny little things that can make a big difference.
Oh my gosh, I wish that I knew we were doing this podcast a few days ago, because I was listening to a podcast with what's his name? He's so famous. breaking the habit of being yourself. What's his name? We were just talking about him. He's the guy that talks about neuroplasticity and how positive. Joe Dispenza. He was saying that and of course I will butcher whatever the science was like around this and how they were able to measure this, but that they took people, and if those people practiced gratitude for like 10 minutes a day, and it could have been broken up, after 4 days, physiologically they were changed somehow.
Wow.
Like 4 days, like gratitude. Yeah. Well, not the way I say it. The way he presented it was compelling because it was like Stanford research study. Yeah. And whereas I'm just like, you guys, you have to listen to this.
So if anybody knows the source of that, put it in the comments and then everybody can.
I mean, anything by Joe Dispenza is compelling.
It is very awesome. Well, and one of the things that I think of too is when I'm doing these little things, like you get the reward that you give yourself, the celebration that you give yourself, but also know that part of the celebration is the trajectory. So it's like now you're on track for other good things to happen. So when
maybe
you make an agreement with yourself and you keep that agreement, you like flex the muscle of self-support. You flex the muscle of self-capable, of self, just anything. Empowered.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah. 100%. So your whole trajectory starts to turn. And
well, that's like the whole basis behind any sort of exposure therapy. So like if someone, I want to be really sensitive about this because this is like real, like we're like that would be talking about like real mental health. But if someone, has a fear of, I don't know, like leaving their house, right? That's common. And I'm just want to put a disclaimer out that not saying that this is an easy thing to do, but the concept behind exposure therapy is that you go and kind of push yourself to do what feels most uncomfortable. And then over time, that's what it builds. It builds that muscle of knowing that, oh, you're capable of doing something that's scary, so it's the basis behind exposure therapy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What other things might help someone actualize their
mindfulness? Freaking mindfulness. Kill me. I just want to watch my reality shows.
Yeah.
And not be mindful, but yeah, mindfulness is everything.
Also, like, it's pretty common to get a workout buddy, but not to be underestimated. Like having someone that you can bounce the idea off of or who supports you in making small steps towards improvement. Like if you've got a buddy
accountability
like
is everything.
So helpful.
The human connection and support is everything.
It's everything.
And I'm saying that like I've been a therapist before and I like know that that's like 80% of what therapists do is that there is support. It's not even that the things that they're saying are so profound. Maybe I shouldn't make that generalization, but you know what I mean? Like it's the human support and it's something that you connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's why working out with other people, that's why even if you have a hard time connecting to why you want to make a positive change, like if your only motivation is yourself, which is a that's a great noble thing, but being motivated by other people, like I want to be healthier for this person.
Yeah, I want to be able to run around with my kids.
I want to be able to,
yeah, it's very motivating. I was thinking too, how creative you were about, improved health and picking a small behavior and then being creative enough to see that it can be difficult even to remember to buy the greens. So like to be creative around your goals and your intentions for supportive activities around it. So like if I say I'm going to get in shape this year, that's pretty vague. If I say I'm going to practice yoga 3 times a week, that's a little more specific. But then I can add other little small goals around that. So it might be supportive to me if I want to practice yoga more to subscribe to Yoga Journal or to find some supportive podcasts like this one that you can listen to in the car, like to start to have supportive activities so that you're building like a structure around your goal that lifts you up and keeps you
what's the statistic
focused.
That like what percentage of what we do all day is just on autopilot is like terrifying. It's like all we're literally just meat suits walking around with this like monkey brain in our head with the same like neurological pathways firing all day long, and yet we think we're like so like objective and
intelligent.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. we're like run by habits.
I mean, that's how I perceive myself, just like a giant meat suit, bumping into stuff. Food, toilet, like, that's it.
Each day.
Yeah.
I loved it. Oh my God. All right. Well, yeah. What other thoughts do you have? Do you feel like we covered it?
I feel like something's probably going to come up. Fun.
Yeah.
Have fun, because if you don't have fun setting the intentions, and
You're not gonna have fun achieving them.
yeah.
Well, I
What's
was talking to
Steen's mantra about like the more fun I have, the more successful I am, or I measure I measure my success by how much fun I'm having.
That's a great one.
Which is like such a huge shift from like the paradigm of work hard, grind until you die.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
also it's such a shift from even setting goals and intentions where you have to like keep data on did you meet your goal or your intention, like your 1-year goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals. It's
Totally. It's like it's not about the end goal. Maybe that's what we should like.
right. It's just like being in
It's about the
process. For me, the vision boarding is like keeps me in process, so that because I'll tell you.
Because really, what's the goal of all of it, anyways?
Right.
You know, like why do I care about eating healthy? Like, you know, it's like they're all just silly human things, but I mean, they're not. They're huge, but they're also
so that we can enjoy the process of being alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it could be that I look back on my vision boards and compare one to the other, and they look pretty similar. Like, you know,
okay, I'm sorry. I just had like an ADHD moment, but you know what's hysterical about your vision board from last year? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you're gonna fall off your chair. Hold on.
Oh dear.
So she has God written on it, but I'm looking from the opposite side, kind of upside down. You know what God is backwards? It's dog.
It's dog. Oh, I hope that doesn't make you cry.
I just don't know.
It does. Normally doesn't say in search of God. It says in search of God.
In search of dogs.
So maybe for this year I'll just take
Except
that.
I'm picky. I can't make a decision.
We're gonna find a dog, but
or a dog will find us. That's
100%.
What maybe that's what we were trying too hard and trying to force it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 2021 was a good year. It was a good year. It had some losses and it had some challenges, but overall,
you know, it was a year like any other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we grew the studio this year, so I'm super happy about that. And the community that's gathering here is outstanding. Just a lot of very personal connection, a lot of support. I feel like if you're looking for a place to, you know, maybe on your vision board, there's some yoga, there's some bar, there's some fitness, there's some overall well-being, and you're looking for a home to have some support. And
I also want to plug myself for a moment, if I may interrupt.
Yeah. Good.
Because what you were saying was so boring. No. I'm starting to health coach this year, so I will not be board certified until probably April, I believe is when the exam is. However, I'm finishing up my certification. It's a functional medicine certification in health coaching. So it's very holistic, but it's very research-based, evidence-based, and smart. It pulls in all of functional medicine so that, I don't know, it's more holistic than traditional health coaching. That wasn't a great way of explaining it. But I also have a background in counseling and I'm really passionate about helping people who are trying to make these positive lifestyle changes and having a really hard time. I have a lot of personal connection to that. And people who are more interested in you know, well-being and health and are kind of over that whole diet mentality.
100%.
Yeah. So and my personal passion is, you know, a lot to do with like emotional eating and you know, how the way we consume food is tied to our emotions and our past trauma, and I'm very kind of like whole person approach. So that's on my website. You can reach out to me and we can do a 15-minute free consultation. The prices are not up yet, but they will be. And if not, just talk to me and yeah. So
yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
because I think, you know.
Bye.
Sit down.
Is it done yet?
Yeah, I think that just knowing that there are other people who are on the journey, on the path available for your support, for your help, and want to lift you up. Like we want people to feel really good. You know,
Yeah, because they lift me up.
100%. And
Everyone in class this morning, when I finished, they all smiled at me. It was so
So
nice.
good, yeah.
And I don't want to freak them out by being like, I love you guys so much. I didn't want to overdo it, and you know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
On the right track. Well, I'm glad it's on your vision board then, because we need more of that.
Mhm.
We need more of Happy Leah. So, Happy New Year. We need Happy You too. So reach out, check the links that we've got in the comments there. Let us know what you think about it all. Stop by the studio. We have a box in the front lobby with magazines and scissors. So if you want to work Tracy style and rip out some pictures, some pages, some words, some inspiration, stop by, grab that for yourself, and happy vision boarding.
And let's get lit on kombucha tonight.
Yeah, watch the ball drop. Happy New Year.
As if you'd stay up that late ever.
I know. Namaste.